Northern Italy, September 1991. Two German tourists, Helmut and Erika Simon, were hiking in the Alps. They were in the section of the Otzi mountain range on the border between Italy and Austria when they spotted something sticking out of the snow and ice. They approached it and saw that it was a mummified human body. They came down from the mountain and immediately notified the authorities. When the police arrived, they initially thought it was a hiker who froze. As they began to dig through the ice, they found that the body belonged to a man, but there was no modern climbing equipment nearby. After 5 days of digging through the ice, authorities managed to retrieve the body from the ice. Around him were found a bow and quiver with stone-tipped arrows, an axe with a copper blade, the remains of a knapsack, a leather pouch with small items, fur and leather clothing, shoes and other small artifacts. The body was sent to the laboratory for analysis. The results showed that the body belonged to a man who died around 5,300 years ago, towards the end of the Stone Age and the beginning of the Bronze Age. The man was named Otzi, the Iceman, after the Otzi mountain range where he was found. Who was Otzi? After multiple tests, the scientists came to the following conclusions. Otzi was around 45 years old, around 1.60 meters tall, and weighed 50 kilograms. He walked a lot, but his upper body wasn't very strong. His health was not good as he suffered from caries, periodontal disease, borreliosis or Lyme disease, and has flu-like symptoms in the early stages, and then struggled with musculoskeletal, arthritic, neurological, psychiatric and cardiac symptoms, and was afflicted with intestinal parasites. Also, in his stomach, it was found that he was infected by the Helicobacter pylori, which can cause ulcers, gastritis, and even stomach cancer. He had blood type 0 or O and was lactose intolerant. His genetic predisposition indicates that he probably had an increased risk of coronary heart disease. On his body were found 61 tattoos, which consisted of 19 groups of black lines. They were in the shape of parallel lines and crosses, adorning his sides, lower back, wrists, ankles, knees, and calves. Unlike modern tattoos, these were not done with a needle. Instead, these incisions were made in his skin, and the resulting wound filled with charcoal. Researchers believe the tattoos were not decorative, but rather served a poorly understood therapeutic or medicinal purpose, perhaps a form of primitive acupuncture. The last meal. Examinations of Otzi's stomach showed that his last meal consisted of venison, ibex, a type of wild goat, which had been smoked as samples of shoot were found in his stomach, einkorn, wheat, and a type of poisonous fern. It may have either been eaten as medicine or by mistake. Cause of death. After multiple tests, scientists found that the man had a huge hole in his skull, probably from trauma. The tip of an arrow was found lodged in his shoulder blade, meaning he died from the wound and bleeding. Traces of wounds were also found on his hands indicating that he was involved in a violent struggle at some point before he died. The most likely explanation is that Otzi was the victim of a murder. The chance that robbery was the motive is small, as all the valuable items for survival were around him. The full meal he had shortly before his death suggests that he probably did not expect an attack. The biggest possibility is that this murder was due to some personal conflict vendetta that Otzi may have had with another person. His death probably occurred in spring or early summer, as traces of pollen were found in his stomach. Otzi and his artifacts have been on display at the South Tyrol Museum of Archaeology in Bolzano, Italy, since 1998. The mummy is in a specially designed cold cell and can be viewed through a small window. For the scientific community, Otzi was an important find from which they were able to extract more information about the people of that time.